Hello everyone watching at home, it's Beckett here with Adelaide Eternal, and I'm bringing you a lightning round of Vintage Cube. If you're not sure what lightning round is, it's a nice quick video. We don't do the draft, I just play the games by going through the game history on Vintage Cube, and it plays through the games really quick, and I see if I can keep up my commentary with the speed of the game. So I just thought I'd quickly show you the deck. I was about to call it blue-black control, but if you have a look carefully, it's actually not control. There are 0 counter spells other than days in this deck. It's actually quite aggressive, and I think I actually made a bit of a mistake in drafting it that way. You'll probably see in the games, but I get into a lot of commanding positions in this match and have a lot of mana and a lot of cards, and all I really want to do is protect the board state that I have, but I'm obliged, because I have no counter spells, to just keep adding onto the board, and I just have a lot of draw spells and Ancestral and Pondo Preordained Snap, Kaito, so I get a lot of gas and Jace, but I'm just drawing into either more playables or more draw cards, and it's actually not a very well designed deck, but all the cards I love, and they're really fun games. So let's get into it. So I was also watching Kill Bill while playing this, which is why I didn't record it live, and I made a few little minor errors. Hopefully they don't get picked up because we're playing so fast. This was not one of the errors. I knew I had Urborg, so I was able to turn to Douthie, and Douthie hit into Kaito is really good. Kaito is good by itself, but it's particularly good if you've got a little unblockable creature, and you'll find that my deck as a theme, unblockable is a bit of a theme in my list, and I win a lot of games by being able to play stuff like Tar Pit, Douthie, True Name, Phantasmal Image copying True Name. So that's an interesting interaction there where the Douthies don't actually say unblockable. Most people think they say unblockable because it feels like that. They have Shadow, which is a really old mechanic which says can only be blocked, it's kind of like flying, can only be blocked by creatures with Shadow. So my opponent elected to trade there, which, right or wrong, worked out well for me because I was able to Kaito and stabilize with the board. Here we find I've got another unblockable in the Ninja that I create, and I'm just trading off cards, like trading off the Strix with the Phantasmal, because I know I've got so much card advantage from this Kaito that I want to actively trade off cards. And here I elect to go Snap Deluge, which might seem a little bit out of place, but like I was saying, I just feel so ahead on cards. To me, that's a sweet 2-for-1. I'm spending 1 card in Snapcaster Mage to reset the board, keep my Planeswalker, and 2-for-1. So it's exactly what I want. I'm getting card advantage and I'm maintaining that board state, and I just know this Kaito is going to get me all the way there. Kaito is not an especially powerful 3-drop. I don't particularly recommend it. It's good, it's fine, but it's really shining here because I'm able to utilize those unblockable creatures and just curved out well with it. Grave Titans, you know how much I love Grave Titan. It's been really good at just closing games, and I struggled in this series to close games quickly when I wanted to, and I played quite conservatively. Normally, as you guys know, I'm a pretty aggressive player, but I played pretty conservatively here. And I'm scared. My opponent just really didn't have a whole lot. They went for Strix. They could have gone for Urza there, or Phantasmal Image copying Grave Titan, which I think was a misplay. My opponent went Grave Titan, Phantasmal Image copying Grave Titan. They could have traded off the zombies, and they would have been in a better board state. But I guess they were just sort of looking to draw a card and dig their way out of it. So it's not strictly worse, but I think you get more looks in if you go Grave Titan. I stabilize here with Jason. You can stabilize. I play Jason. You can see here where all I want is a counterspell. I mean, my opponent just hardcast Grizzlebrand. I've got a grip full of cards. I've got plenty of mana, and I just let them hardcast Grizzlebrand. Because I've got so much gas, it hardly even matters because I'm able to raise and borrow. I mean, they can hardcast it again, but it doesn't really matter. And my opponent's drawn a lot of cards here, so I start with Graveyard Trespasser, which was a really nice one to sort of force my opponent to act, and they do with Shallow Grave, which seems good, but Jace can unsummon. So game 2, I elect to keep that for some reason. Oh, I had Soul Guide land. It's not a great hand, but it's okay. I get to play Soul Guide, draw another time, play my land, play Soul Guide, draw another card to see a land, and then sack Soul Guide if I need. So I see 3 cards. I'm probably going to find a blue in that, and if I find a blue, Pondo Preordain gets me out of it. So that looked like a terrible hand. It was mediocre, but it actually wasn't that bad. And keep in mind, I know my opponent's on a reanimate strategy, so having turn 1 Soul Guard's really, really strong against them. Douthie, super duper strong. I find A-Cole, A-Cole wasn't even that, I mean, it's like, let me rephrase, A-Cole's amazing, but you will see that my poor deck design didn't allow me to really leverage A-Cole, because, you know, A-Cole's good when you inundate your opponent in early card advantage, and then utilize it, and I just was swamped with cards. This is a cool little trick that I do a couple times, and you've got to be really careful of in Cube. It's a very common theme in Cube. There's a lot of steal effects. I don't think bribery is in this particular Cube, but there's a lot of that sort of stuff, like stealing your opponent's stuff, treachery, you know, bribery, that kind of stuff. And having just a simple Brazen Borrow, Jace, repeal effect to bounce your creature back is really, really strong. So I'm able to Jace bounce the Douthie there, which is better than Brainstorming, because not only am I drawing a card, it's like a kill spell for their Douthie, I also draw my own Douthie, and Douthie's a particularly strong draw there. And so you can see we're on turn 6 here, and I'm still I'm tapping out every turn, and I'm still like tapping out because I've just got so much gas. But you know, again, the better deck would probably just play 1 or 2 threats, the Jace and the Trespasser, and then keep up counter spells. At this stage, it's not incorrect to play the threats, because that's my only. I've just got one play, and it's threat, draw spell to mix it up, draw more draw spells, draw more threats. Anyway, I go for Virtue Persistence there because I think it's really strong against the Reanimator strategy, and they actually Fractured Identity it, which is kind of scary because they're playing a Reanimate, so there's a good chance they can get something cool in the bin. They're not going to be able to do it because it's an upkeep trigger, so when they go to their turn, unless their last card is Entomb, when they go to their turn, even if they have an instant speed Entomb effect, they won't be able to use it. And Grave Titan, Phantasmal Image Coffee Grave Titan, puts 20 power on the board for 8 mana. You know, I love him. Grave Titan. That's match 1. Match 2, and it's a really nice opening hand. I've got lands and spells, and I love Hard Evidence. It's such an innocuous card, but it's kind of like Thraben Inspector. I just love it. It makes my deck tight, conservative. It's good against aggro. It's randomly good with Kaito because I can swing the 0/3. You can Fallen Shinobi it. I mean, just having an idiot on the board that also lets you play a 1-drop and then a 2-drop in terms of cracking the clue. I haven't needed to do that because my curve was good outside of that, but it just always guarantees you a 1-drop and a 2-drop, and because you're cracking the clue, there's a good chance you'll find a 3-drop, so it just really smooths out your draws. Underrated card. I do that little cheeky trick I was telling you about where I swing the crab and then Kaito. They bounce because they're scared of the Kaito. How good is that? I mean, we're trading a 0/3 token for, you know, the Brazen Borrow effect. True Name Nemesis and another unblockable here. There's no point upticking Kaito because my hand's quite good. I don't really want to discard. I'm seeing so many cards. I'm not, and a lot of my cards are superfluous. They're very similar. It's just gas and draw, as I said. So discard the Graveyard Trespasser to find something similar, or discard, you know, the draw spell to find another draw spell. It's largely irrelevant. I just want to get value out of the Kaito. And almost like an extra damage on the board is pretty relevant here. So things are happening pretty quick, but importantly, I get to play another unblockable, 3-power unblockable in Douthie, and then play another unblockable True Name. And Phantasmal Image True Name is an absolute classic combo, so strong because they can't get rid of it easily with Phantasmal Image's ability that forces you to sack. They can't target it. So my opponent saws there, which was good because otherwise I would have been bashing for 10, 11, 12, 13 unblockable with Tar Pit. And you see I still do the bash even without the Douthie, and it's pretty strong. Opponent Brazen Borrow got to clean up my Kaito, but you can see I've just got so much power, it doesn't matter. Game 2 of match 2, and it's another really good hand. We've got 2 lands, a troll, we've got a lovely True Name Nemesis, and of course we've got A-Cole. I find absolute whiffs on the Sheldog Isle. I was kind of flustered by how bad that was. I probably should have kept his Triome in the library so I can troll for it. Who knows? It doesn't matter really. Finding a 2-drop there is really, really nice. A-Cole, I actually kind of wanted, I remember wanting that A-Cole to be countered, to be honest, because I had so much gas. I would rather just, think it was more important to play True Name out, or I end up playing a 4-drop out. really felt like I didn't need the gas. And my opponent got to clamp the Malcolm, which, yeah, clamp you got to be careful with. It's an incredibly powerful card, incredibly powerful effect that can inundate an opponent in card advantage, but you do lose the board. And I don't think my opponent realizes just how aggressive I am. I'm not a control deck. I do not have counter spells outside of Daze, and Daze is not really a control card, it's a tempo card. I get a nice little trigger off the putting the troll in the bin. The clue guide triggers when something is discarded, so the troll works for that. Very happy to trade off creatures here, that's fine. Subtlety, yeah, they get a little win and they get a little tempo. It's good play from my opponent, but like I said, I'm very happy to trade off creatures, trade off cards here, because I do feel quite far ahead despite the skull clamp. So subtlety bashing for 3, I'm okay with that. I'm bashing for 4. Giver of Runes to me is a bit of an annoying card here, but you can see the difference between Giver and Mother. I wouldn't be able to do this against Mother of Runes. So I can't target the good creatures because the Giver will protection it, but I do get to target the Giver, which untaps my lands. I mean, it ended up being a 1-mana card. Gives me a Giver for later, and importantly, it doesn't let them Giver the hero, because if they get one free swing with the Hero Blade Hole, they'll inundate my board position. I can let them swing and trade, but I can't let them have that second swing, so I can't let them have that first protection. So that was a really, really nice play, and I'm keeping up Daze here, which makes me feel a lot more comfortable about going into this block against, something like Solitude or Mystic Confluence or something like that. So I get a really nice block. I'm very happy to trade off my 4-3 for their 3-4 and get a kill on their guy. Graveyard Glutton, that's an 8 life turnaround because I get 2 triggers off eating creatures that deal 2, gain 2, and it does 4. Graveyard Glutton quite good in a race. And now here I get to Daze, which this smirking spell jack seems really strong. I had a quick read of it at the time. It steals a spell and then lets you cast it, kind of like that Ethereal Forager kind of guy, except it's a counter spell on the stack. My opponent clamps there, which is really good news for me. I'm actually relieved by it. No shame on clamp, but this is such a critical turn. My opponent's so close to dying. Spending a mana and losing one of their chump blockers tells me that they're digging. So it's not so much that it was a misplay, it's more that it tells me that I'm in a commanding position. I have a little think about whether or not I want to Snapcaster at the end step to see if I've got lethal. It's very close to lethal, but it's not quite. I think I would take them down to 1. Don't make me do the maths this quick. But it ends up not being lethal, so I go Snap, A-Call, discard a land off the Ledger Shredder, and I'm thinking about Deluge, but I just go for Chrome Host Sea Shark. I don't True Name because I want the flyer, because I think the only way I'm going to lose this game is by them having Bash and Time Walk effects to be able to kill me. So this is scary because they swords my Chromo Sea Shark. I don't gain life because the Phantasmal Element trigger sacks it first. They go for this bash, so I'm thinking, okay, there's a Time Walk coming, but I am okay because I get to chump, Giver, and then even if they had Time Walk here, I would still only go to 2. So I played it real conservatively without Alpha Strike in the last turn because I knew I could Alpha Strike this turn. So match 3, game 1. I'm on the play again, which is quite lucky, and I've got Preordain and Serum Visions, and I actually like to go Serum Visions first because Serum Visions is worse, and Preordain's a bit better when I'm specifically digging for something. So I'm not digging for anything. I've got lands and spells. I'm happy with my hand. I just want to smooth out my curve in general and just use my mana up. So that's why I like to go for Serum Visions. I find Ledger Shredder, which is a really nice 2-drop. It gets Chain Lightning. Hey, that's fine. I'm happy to just be spending my mana every turn. That's my most important thing. I know if I'm spending mana every turn for the first 4 or 5 turns, I'm probably winning. That's a very good rule of thumb to know in Magic. Not necessarily, but it's a good rule of thumb. If you're tapping out every turn, you're in a good spot. And also, if you're able to answer things cleanly. And how clean was that? I really utilised that virtue by going a neg 3 on turn 2. Use my mana again by going Preordain A-Call, stabilise. My opponent gets a nice little land trigger off this Augur. And I go for GT, which is arguably a little bit risky because if they deal with the creature, the mana investment into the GT is used up and useless. But it's got that ward, and I've got... so it punishes them if they kill it, and I've got Deluge to sweep the board if I do get out of space, out out of the game. And Phantasmal Image on Halana there is so strong because it keeps my Graveyard Trespasser relevant. And we've just seen how strong it is all game, and my opponent concedes there when I start using up GT counters on Halana because they won't get the trigger, and I kill Ragavan. GT is king in the creature mirrors. So game 2, and I actually accidentally kept this. I was meant to mull it. I got very lucky. That's a mull every day of the week, don't get me wrong. I was definitely meant to mull it. I saw the talisman and thought it was a land. I got lucky because I rip a land drop. I find the next land drop as well. I'm not playing talisman because I'm still hitting my lands, and because I might as well just curve well, curve better. The talisman still costs you a mana, so I'm playing pretty conservatively here. I don't want to lose to Territorial Carver, and I'm glad I keep the Trunam back to jump because they put some big counters on it. I have a little think about the GT, and I elect not to do it, and I'm glad I don't, because you can see GT and Trunam are keeping these 3 big creatures at bay. The Halana is going to make this really big and tough, so I'm pretty scared. I find Acol, and I've got Grave Titan to stabilize, so I know that I just need to stabilize. I do elect to swing, which is a little risky, but because I get to swing, get counters, and block, get counters, I'm just relying on that GT, which was a little bit scary, and you can see Athari there is super punishing. I get to +4/+4, kill the Ulvenwald Oddity, and keep the Ledger Shredder alive. I bash, and I'm actually stabilized here despite how bad it looks, because I get to kill the Halana, gain 2 life, go to 1 against the Athari, and my Graveyard Grave Titan can equip to GT, bash, and stabilize, but they have Chain Lightning. So game 3. I'm on the plate. It's not a very good hand, but this is why Preordain's so strong. It lets me filter out a land, keep a really good playable, smooth out what was otherwise a bad draw. I'm not going to hit a turn 2. That makes sense. Fair enough. I kept a bad hand, but I know Deluge is going to be strong because I know my opponent's on creatures, and I get to go Deluge, and then True Name and Acol is good enough. My opponent actually scoops there because I think they missed their 3rd land, and they must have a whole bunch of 4-drops in hand. So they know they can't beat True Name.